Establishing a consulting practice can sound pretty easy, right? Especially if you're clear on your expertise and you got some contacts. All you need to do is line up some gigs, right? Well, there's some truth to that, especially if you're only interested in getting the next gig. But if you really want to create a practice that generates a predictable and steady stream of revenue, it's harder than it looks, but not for the reasons that you think. Regardless if you're an internal or an external consultant, you have to find a way to communicate your value to potential clients in a way that motivates them to pursue a relationship with you. There are lots of techniques that I can share with you, and I will share them with you, that I've learned both as an internal consultant at Walt Disney World as well as an external consultant working for myself. So in the next course, we're going to focus exclusively on branding and marketing. And there are many tactics that you will have to get good at, such as clarifying your value proposition, developing your consulting brand promise, creating a web presence, including your website and social media marketing. You need to be able to find prospects and leads, and so on. So there are a ton of resources that can help you in this area. I have benefited a great deal from being a part of Alan Weiss's global community of consultants. Alan and the rest of the community provide tremendous direction and support on how to market and sell consulting services. I am one of Alan's master mentors, and I offer this service either as a standalone or as a part of the Consultants Institute because of how valuable I find his material. But what I've learned from my years of consulting and mentoring other consultants, it's not always a lack of knowledge that sub-optimizes our marketing and our sales. And sometimes it's just our way of thinking that holds us back. So let's establish a few truths to build your foundation on so that when I share with you marketing and sales techniques, you can more easily integrate them. So first, again, number one, your competition is not other consultants. It's either the client either not choosing to do nothing or doing the work themselves. So remember, the real sales pitch is not how much better you are from other consultants, but rather on why working on a change project is better than doing nothing and the value of using an external resource like you. Second, again, there is no scarcity in the universe. Just because you encounter other consultants that are more successful than you doesn't mean that there isn't a place for you. If you have expertise, it is meant to be used. Have confidence that if your expertise is relevant to market needs, you can and will find business. There is a difference between branding and over-specialization. You'll hear really good advice from other consultant developers that would encourage you to be a generalist and not limit yourself by offering only one or two things or being afraid to expand your services, and that is very true. But what that doesn't mean is that you don't have to have a clear brand. A clear consulting brand serves a very important purpose. It makes it very clear to prospects and clients that when they have a particular situation, then it's time to call you. Think about the role of branding in taking the guesswork out of your consumer decisions. So for example, when you have a runny nose, that's when you go get a Kleenex. And sure, you can use your Kleenex to blot your lipstick and wipe your brow, but you know for a fact that there is no other brand associated as quickly as Kleenex when you have a runny nose. So in our profession, when you hear words like strengths, you think in your mind, Marcus Buckingham, although he does a lot of other things. And I'm sure Marshall Goldsmith offers a lot more than coaching, but in that context, you quickly associate them with one another. And that's why there's an ROI in doing this work. So it's easier for you and your client to say, you know, when organizations deal with X, Y, and Z, well, what I do is A, B, and C. Fourth, authentic marketing is vulnerable. There's absolutely no way around it. It is vulnerable to put out a newsletter that others might think is crap. It's vulnerable to have your picture available on a Google search. And if you're not skating on the edge of your comfort zone, I'm really not sure you're fully on track to grow a thriving business. Fifth, business development takes time and resources. You have to set aside time. Some may estimate 20% of your time, others may say 50% of your time, but either way, you have to invest that time. And you also have to invest your money in developing your skills. I learned early on when it comes to business development investments, I am not rich enough to go cheap. Meaning, whenever I thought I could save money on things like my website, I always spent more than if I just would have hired the best the first time around. And finally, thinking too little of yourself is no better than thinking too highly of yourself. It may seem that there are polar opposites of one another, but they're really flip side of the same coin. So for many, there's a visceral reaction to the indulgences of the affluent corporate lifestyle of corporate America. I was recently in San Francisco and could not help but laugh when I saw some of the University of San Francisco's billboard ads that said things like, "Learn to run a multinational corporation and still go to heaven," and "Values over valuables." But the flip side isn't any better. It is not in the best interest of yourself or your clients to devalue your expertise by not feeling confident enough to ask for your worth. I find it interesting when a mentee comes to me and said that they are very interested in increasing their compensation, but when push comes to shove and the proposals are being put together, they go into anxiety attacks when it comes to asking for equitable compensation. This challenge with self-esteem comes up in situations with someone who will resist investing money in something significant, like a high-quality web presence, that will lead to success. And in between cockiness and low self-esteem is where you want to be. Self-confidence is an attitude that communicates confidence to your client that you would be crazy not to partner with me because I know exactly how to help you. Business development is not a necessary evil, nor is it all that you need to focus on. It is something that you prioritize because you, just like your client, have to find ways to deliver today's results while simultaneously focusing on the future. It's not enough to want to have a thriving consulting business. It is about becoming a person who is capable of leading a thriving consulting business. So this is the secret to sustainable success. So as a next step, download the worksheet that goes along with this video and assess for yourself what perceptions about business development might need to be challenged in order for you to be mentally in a position to be ready for amazing success. And also rate what aspects of business development you need to focus your learning on. And then join me in our last video of Organizational Consulting 101, where we're going to finalize our vision for being a great consultant.